Welcome to another Gearwig Selfie report. A 50-point game between my Gators and Shane's Cryx at Jetpack Comics in Rochester, New Hampshire. I brought Calaban's Tier 4 theme force with a Swamp Horror, a Wrestler, a Bull Snapper, and a Bone Swarm. Wrong Eye has Snapjaw and a Turtle. I'm allowed a min unit of Bone Grinders. I took a full Gatormen Posse unit as well as a min Gatormen Posse unit. It's a beefy list where nearly all the models have multiple boxes. The theme bonuses for this list get me up the field a little faster and help me put some pressure on the opponent. It has some weaknesses, particularly cheap Weapon Master units, but it's a fun list. Shane brought Venethrax. He has the character Jack Malice in his battle group, as well as a Leviathan, and he has a Scarlock Thrall attachment. He has the Wither Shadow Combine. He has a full unit of Satixus Raiders with a UA. He has a Necrosurgeon and Stitch Thralls, a full unit of Mechana Thralls with a Brute and a Scarlock Commander. He has the Ogren Raiding Party, a full unit of Blood Gorgers with Garlac Slaughterborn. I deployed like this, a little heavy to my left side. I advanced deployed Wrong Eye and his beast after I saw where Venethrax was going to be, and I let the albinos take the right side. The Cryx battle group is deployed centrally, flanked by Blood Gorgers and Mechana Thralls on each side, and the Satixus Raiders are advanced deployed right in front of Wrong Eye and company. And this game was played on the outflank scenario with two neutral zones in the center, one on the left, one on the right. I'm able to go first in this game. I always try to go first with this list when possible. I like to get up the field as quickly as I can. I activate the albino Gators, I pray for defense, and I run. I stack so much of my army on Venethrax's side in the hopes to assassinate him that I only have these three guys to hold this zone, so that's not good. The advanced deploying Turtle just advances. I'm hoping to deviate a shot with him. I also don't want him to get too close to those Raiders just yet. He fires at a Raider who's out of range, and it ends up deviating right on top of one. The UA for this unit gives them Force Barrier, so they're immune to the blast damage caused by the deviating template. But every model hit, the one model, still gains Corrosion. Instead of riling for Fury, I have the Turtle cast his Animus, Ornery. In the unlikely event that he gets hit by a melee attack, he'll be able to bite back. Snapjaw activates next and just advances up. Again, I don't want to get him too close, I don't want him in charge range. He then uses his Animus Submerge so he can't be targeted by ranged attacks or magical attacks, which should keep him pretty safe. Wrong Eye then advances up base to base with the Turtle. Thanks to Girded, Wrong Eye will now be immune to blast damage. He'll also cast Submerge, so he can't be targeted by other stuff, and dumps the rest of his fury. The Bone Swarm goes next and just runs. This is one of the theme forces that doesn't give him a movement bonus, so that's a shame. He's pretty slow. These Gators activate, they also pray for Dirge and then run, ending up here. With the two obstructions on my side of the board, I'm feeling a bit clogged. I gotta move my Wrestler next in such a way that he doesn't block off everybody. Here I'm either looking for some sort of dynamic camera angle for this movement, or I just forget I'm supposed to be filming. It's a toss-up. The Swamp Horror runs right behind him. Calaban does too, I just dump Fury and run. Often I like to keep Calaban way up front, but I'm a little afraid of the Raiders, so he hides behind his War Beasts. That's the end of my turn. Shane runs his Satixus Raider unit right into my forces, jamming them up, not shown here. And then the Blood Gorgers activate and they run. The Leviathan activates, he runs as well. Malice spends a focus to run also and ends up down here by the wall. Then Venethrax activates and casts Lamentation. If Calaban ends up in his control area now, he'll have to spend double to cast spells, which will pretty much scuttle his feet and anything else he likes to do. He then declares a charge on his own Raider. This charge will come up just short, so we won't have to make the attack against her, and his activation will immediately end. As soon as Venethrax stops, though, Shane feels terrible about it. There's a particularly goofy Gatorman movement trick that might put him in range of my Wrestler next turn. He's only camping 2 focus. And since he cast Lamentation, he couldn't have cast Dragon Slayer, which would have provided him another +2 armor. So he's a little bit vulnerable, and maybe within range of my hardest hitting model. The Scarlock activates and just runs. Then Slaughterborn runs near his trolls. The Ogren boarding party run. This one zone where I only have the 3 albinos already has way too many models heading toward it. If I don't win some other way quickly, I'll lose on scenario here. They end up like this. The Wither Shadow activate next, and they run. Shane can't possibly get any models in front of Venethrax here. Everyone's just a little bit too slow. And the Mechanothralls activate, and they run behind the Ogren. And they end up in a blob like this. And that ends Shane's turn. If he can survive my next turn, he'll be in a good position for scenario. I start my turn leeching Fury. I'm definitely going for the assassination here, otherwise I'll just lose. And it requires something called the Flying Circus trick. I will take advantage of the Wrestler's weird animus to throw him for some extra movement, but still charge effectively. The Swamp Horror starts it off. He activates, he walks behind the Wrestler, and uses a power attack double-handed throw to throw him. 2 or 3 inches of movement should be enough to get me eventually to Venethrax. First of all, this throw attack roll needs to hit. I boost it. It's in the back arc, so I only need a 4 to hit. And the attack roll hits. Then a strength check with 2d6 because it's a double-handed throw, and I roll high enough where the Wrestler can't break it. Next, I choose a target for the double-handed throw. I want to throw the Wrestler at that Satixus Raider. There aren't any other valid targets, really, and I want to make sure he doesn't scatter. I can boost this attack roll too. I need an 8 to hit the Raider with the Wrestler. And it hits. The Wrestler is moved directly toward the Raider, moving over smaller bases like the Bone Swarm, and stops as soon as he contacts her base. She then suffers a damage roll, POW 10, that easily destroys her. The Wrestler is then knocked down, we should have resolved this before the damage roll, and he suffers a dice -9 roll that does no damage. Normally, a model cannot stand up on the same turn it was knocked down. However, when a special rule allows a model to stand up, it can do that on the same turn it was knocked down. So Calaban spends 2 Fury, thanks to Lamentation, to cast the Blackhide's Animus, Rise, on the Blackhide Wrestler. Now he stands up. He then spends 4 more to cast the Swamp Horror's Reach Animus on the Wrestler. Wrong Eye activates next, looking to clear out some of these Raiders. He'll make an attack with the stick, boost the attack roll, needing an 8 to hit. And he does. And that destroys the Raider. He'll take his bite attack and also boost that. This hits, destroys another Raider. He buys another attack, needing an 8. He boosts, and hits. This kills a third. He can really get some work done with a full stack of Fury. The Turtle activates next. I consider killing a Raider maybe. I don't want the Raiders there to make free strikes on my Wrestler when he finally charges. But they're still immune to blast damage, and it would only kill 1 Raider. So my Turtle instead takes the aiming bonus and fires at Venethrax, hoping to chip away at some of his health. With the aiming bonus, he'll only need an 8 to hit, and I boost, but miss. Even with that huge blob of Cryx, somehow manages to scatter harmlessly and not hit anything. Snapjaw activates next. He advances toward the Raiders in the hopes of killing a few of them. His tail has reach, so he should be able to kill more than just these 2. But he took a free strike from that other Raider that was standing right there. Her attack hits, and she'll roll dice -9, and end up doing 4 damage to Snapjaw. Back to Snapjaw, he boosts his initial bite attack, needing an 8 to hit the Raider. And his attack does hit. It auto-damages her, and he snacks on her, healing a d3. His second initial attack is a tail. He boosts this as well. He needs an 8. This hits, automatically destroying the Raider. He snacks on her, healing back up to full hit points. He buys another attack, but this one misses. Then the pigs move up to kill the last Raider in the way. They get an Arcane Bolt that gets a plus to hit for every nearby pig. So he'll only need a 6 to hit, but misses. So the Wrestler will just have to charge Venethrax and risk the possible free strike from the last Raider. Venethrax isn't a living model, so the Wrestler can't charge for free. That's unfortunate. We carefully measure his charge range plus his reach range thanks to his Animus. And when it's all said and done, he can get to Venethrax. He's also still in the Raider's melee range, so he doesn't even take a free strike. The Wrestler makes a death roll special attack. If it hits, he and his target will both be knocked down. He boosts the attack roll, needing a 9. 9 is too high a number to hit reliably. That's why I want to knock him down now so my additional attacks auto-hit. I roll, needing a 9. And it hits. That's huge. If this had failed, the assassination probably would have failed. So both the Wrestler and Venethrax are knocked down. Of course, the Wrestler has a special rule that allows him to attack while knocked down. The death roll damage is always boosted, and we'll roll dice -1 here. But only do 6 damage. Uh-oh. Off to a bad start so far, although at least the death roll didn't miss. It could have been worse. Wrestlers in general are unpredictable assassins. They have the potential of doing tons of damage, but with their average mat, you can get some spiky bad dice to really ruin your day. But I can still spend 2 more Fury, and I'll spend 1 now to buy an additional bite attack that auto-hits at dice -1. And this attack does 10 damage, so that changed fast. I can buy 1 more attack at dice -1, and that'll finish off Venethrax. So maybe a bad start with the dice, but some nice high rolls at the end finished it off. This was a disappointing game for Shane, for sure. He knew right when his caster's charge ended that he had gotten too close. He has his own Gator army, and he's very familiar with the Flying Circus trick. If he wanted to play that aggressively, he probably could have just camped his focus or even cast Dragon Slayer to have survived that assassination run. Although, if Lamentation were not up, I would definitely have tried to squirrel Calaban up to the front lines and throw out a Parasite and still try it anyway. And without Lamentation, I would have used his feet, maybe grabbed 5 or 6 extra Fury for a Bone Shaker here and there for extra damage onto Venethrax. As a Gatorman caster against any Cryx army, I am going to be desperate for an assassination right from the jump. Our infantry never ever stand up well against Cryx infantry. If you just trade models in the middle, you'll always lose. You are always looking for a crazy assassination, and that's really the only way you can win. I think if Shane had just played very conservatively, held Venethrax back, and camped a bunch of focus, I would have been in big trouble. I just don't think I could have made up for being so outclassed on the field with spells or clever tactics. It just didn't look like it was going to happen for me. My Gatorman games against Cryx armies consist mostly of long, slow, agonizing losses that take forever, spiked with the occasional quick, ambushy, sneaky assassination win like this one. So it can be disappointing to play, and I imagine watch, a game where most of the models don't even attack. As a Gator player, I learned to try to take some pleasure here because it sure beats the long, ugly, crappy attrition losses I usually get. Hooray. Thank you for watching. For more battle reports, articles, and guides, check out Gearwig.com. You can email me at boss@gearwig.com or check out our Facebook or Twitter pages. If you want to help the site, tell a friend and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.